tired. No, 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 no. We want you to go and we could have did the job because when we went to Botswana before, when I was giving speeches to raise money for Crescent, in Botswana, I raised 200,000, 240,000, whatever those things are they have over there. But anyway, my assessment is they knew what they was doing. Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui died. If I came back here on the 16th, he rode to the airport with myself and Sister Bahia, and Sister Bahia said, "What is he trying to tell you?" And I know she was kind of funny, so I don't know what he's saying. He was laying it out. The driver, if you ask him, and if you ask her right now, she's down at the house, he was trying to pass. That's why he said what he said in the lecture, before his lecture. He was putting it clearly like, out of all these people, he knows everybody. And he knows that I was a team player. Because like if we had a conference in London, he would say, he'd get me to the side, "Now we're counting on you." Well, I said, "Doc, take it easy. I got it covered." Because see, everybody else talked about their subject, but I blended. I would go last. That's why I was last before Dr. Siddiqui. Not Muhammad al-Asir Zafar Bangashnim. And the later you get toward the end, and that's why he said, "Well, I got to come after these guys," but, that's what he's saying in the introduction. In other words, they did as much as they can to tire him out, to overwork his heart. When we was on the plane getting ready to go to Botswana, because the plane didn't come, the commercial plane. So the guy that was inviting us up there, he's, of course, the richest man up there. And he has he has a game reserve of his own. And when I was staying there, I stayed in his big house on the game reserve. It's a game reserve with game, running around. And so I asked him before I went swimming, which I never did, I said, "Is there any alligators in that?" It was a big lake on the property. And they say, "Well, it's not but one." I said, "Okay, fine, that's fine. To me, it's sufficient." I never went swimming, and no, I didn't go swimming. There's beautiful water, beautiful. I mean, this is a beautiful house on his extra house. He sent his personal plane to pick us up because it's only Botswana, it's 4-hour drive, so it's only an hour. The flight was less than an hour. In those, he sent, those jungle aircraft people that send people out on tours and all of that. He do all that. And his brother his brother owns the biggest car dealership, Mercedes and all that in Botswana. And he's the biggest, anyway, that's the way they are over there. That's the people we run with. Those are the people that were supporting Crescent. The people in South Africa, and their names are on here, they were, and they are, of course, they're richer now than they was in, but they are very rich. They're the richest Muslims in South Africa. The richest. It's the whole family of them. And that's who would support our anyway, this is 25, 26 years, a long time ago. So these are the people then. You could tell my beard was even black then. There was one or two few strands of gray. Okay. Now, global strategy of Islam. It's one of our flyers. This flyer way back in 2012. These are kind of older. This one's 2013 too. The Triangle of Terror, right? But they all say the same thing. This is the Triangle of Terror too, but it has racism, USA, Zionism, Palestine, and apartheid. See, this is from the 90s. This one is from the 90s, 89. This is probably 89. So the Triangle of Terror at that time was the same one as South Africa, right? It's the USA and it's Zionists in South Africa. I mean, in the Middle East. Okay, now to get to the point. Years ago, global strategy of Islam. So we've always been thinking on a global level. And that's why Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui was saying what he was saying about me, because we talked all the time. And I like, if we was having a program in Texas and Dallas, we'd get up. The other guys wouldn't, they just have tea, coffee, whatever they having. But Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui had a bad heart, and he had one of the rituals he had was walking. He had to walk every day, and I was a runner. So instead of running, I would walk with him. We'd walk and talk. And this was at every program we had. So technically, the other guys thought they was closer, but actually, and I didn't know it until he made that statement, that psychologically he was closer to me and he understood me better, and that's why he was saying what he was saying. But what he was saying was all these concepts, creating the new global order, of Islam, he knew I understood it. And he also said in his just introduction, he says, did anybody hear the part about racism where he said, we all know about racism. But this talk that I had just gave on racism, hey, that's what he was saying. He said, hey, man, that's a whole new deal there, that somebody around here understands racism, and we're living in the most racist, we're living in apartheid. Apartheid is just over. But apartheid may be gone, but it ain't gone in nobody's mind. You know what I mean? Just because you ain't off the plantation don't mean that you ain't still thinking like a slave. You know what I mean? Look at the Negroes here. They've been off this plantation, and then they moved right back here to the last plantation. That's what they call D.C. That's what I used to hear when I used to. Okay, let's get to where we want to go. Dear believers, we are right in the mix. So what I want to talk about today, I want to talk about a little bit about World War I, World War II, and World War III. This morning I was listening to, I guess it's press, about Afghanistan, and they were, well, I wasn't listening, I was watching, on press TV about Afghanistan. And it seems like that we be hitting a lot of points, but it wouldn't be new that we're hitting a lot of points. We've been hitting a lot of points all along, sometimes very critical points. you can all remember probably when we was talking about Aga Soleimani. And now, Soleimani, that is before, or that's after we had the long outline about what's going to happen in the so-called Middle East, that there will be no Arab Spring. I don't know if anybody remembered, but we was emphatic. There will be no Arab Spring. That's the way we presented it. It wasn't, I don't know, I don't think so. No, it was, there will be no Arab Spring. Forget it. And this is what's going to happen. Okay, that's one thing. But then you could go back to the whole history here, whether it's about Lebanon, what did I call that? Yeah. Hey, 3 or 4 tapes with that, right? Everybody else said, oh no, look what they've done. They've destroyed all of our infrastructure. So, oh no, don't you worry about a thing. That's a big victory. And after about 3 weeks, everybody knew it was a big victory. But at first, everybody thought this is a disaster, what happened to us. You got to remember, it was the Shias that had adopted their cousins, and whatever they did at that time was on behalf of the Sunnis, right? And here it is, and it was so brave and so deadly and struck terror into the hearts. You could see Zionists sitting on tanks crying real tears, big tears. I said, that's right, that's the way to go. Anyway, so the last thing with Dr. Soleimani, we waited here. I came here and I was going to go back almost 2 years ago. I ain't went back yet because things keep coming up. And we was waiting all along for something to happen, and I was supposed to go back on the 6th. I had a court date on the 6th of January to 2020. And on the 3rd, he was assassinated. Well, all the months, even years leading up to that, I said, the Shias are getting ready for something. But they don't know what it is. And nobody else knows what it is. But it's building up to that. And that was it. That thing that was supposed to destroy their morale and destroy their ability to coordinate things, they hit the wrong man. Because it unified every little hint of Iraq, Iran, little light fitna, it solidified. In other words, even they may not know what it did, but we knew what it did. It solidified a whole block of people. And those whole blocks of people we'll get back to in a minute. But what is this thing about World War III? Okay, let's take Afghanistan. When we looked at Afghanistan, we said, okay, with Afghanistan, they're leaving tanks, helicopters, and everything behind. That's what the U.S. is doing. Okay. They're leaving it behind for certain reasons. For their homeboys, the Taliban, we don't know what the agreement was, because one thing we know, that the other Afghan puppets wasn't there, right? And he packed up and left before anything, and everybody just went home. Everybody knew what was going on. It is reminiscent of over 20 years prior, when the Taliban Taliban. Talib is a student. Came out of the refugee camps of Pakistan with brand new tanks, all kind of weapons, and they took over Afghanistan, right? A student can't pay rent half the time, washing dishes. I'm talking about here, trying to pay rent, trying to run around, right? So you know how much a tank costs? Let's say, just that old time tanks, $50 million. And weapons, you know, if you think I'm joking, go to the gun store and buy you a nice new AK-47, AR-15. See how much it costs you. If you're a student now, and not no supported student, but a like us student, barely getting by,